So it is actually super important how you enter COVID, right? Initial conditions. So this is a moment that we know initial conditions do matter. And so in that sense, many countries entered COVID in different stages, and Turkey entered at a bad stage, exactly as I was putting it. The economy already is slowing down. They had inflation problem. They have actually now a fiscal deficit problem. They did so good in terms of the government debt and the budget deficit, but that completely unraveled in the last couple of years. So they entered the COVID with high inflation, fiscal deficit, current account deficit, and this whole issue with not having credible policies and dollar debt. They also entered with a lot of dollar debt, external dollar debt, especially accumulated in the banking sector, because banking sector intermediates capital flows in Turkey. Okay, you enter like that to COVID. And then as we all know now, COVID hits different sectors differentially, right? It's going to hit the services sector. It's going to hit tourism. It's going to hit all these sectors that are super important for a country like Turkey. So they did very bad originally. I mean, the Turkish lira is the worst performing emerging market currency in 2020. If you remember last year, March, April, and everybody's saying, okay, this is it. They are about to hit full-blown major crisis, have to go to IMF probably. That was the conjecture. But then, of course, what happened in March and April 2020 is this huge stimulus from Fed. So that is like very good for Turkey. Again, low interest rate in advanced countries is a good thing for a commodity importer emerging market, okay? Because that's going to bring the capital flows back. That's going to bring the dollar debt back. So a country that really relies a lot on those things. So that helped definitely because depreciation was very sharp, but then later it reversed. And then also they did some fiscal packages, not as large as advanced countries. Just to put some numbers on this, advanced country average fiscal package right now is around 20-25% of GDP. Turkey did something around 3%, and emerging market average is 6%. So definitely very, very little, but at least they try to target it. They try to, gave the money to small and medium enterprises, prioritize tourism sector. They understand what their vulnerability is going to be with a shock like COVID. So they try to do as much as they can there. But so they were really badly affected at the beginning. Later, when things started coming around, especially with the help of monetary stimulus from U.S. Federal Reserve, they received the capital flows back, which means they don't need to go to IMF and borrow, right? I mean, this is something that actually we argued a lot during the COVID. I mean, look, if market-based finance available, countries don't need to go to IMF, right? So, and then that market-based finance, this is an international capital market we are talking about. The cost of that finance is pinned down by the U.S. monetary policy, because this finance is in terms of dollar, and the world dollar supply is about U.S. monetary policy. So in that sense, that helped them a lot, other emerging markets too, but definitely it helped Turkey. But of course, certain vulnerabilities remain, and there's going to be some scaring for sure. They closed down the schools, so human capital investment got a big hit. They didn't have vaccines for a long time still. They are very slow in vaccinations, and as you all know by now, if you don't have the vaccine, the solution is lockdown. So you either do the vaccine or you do lockdown, right? I mean, so it's very hard to try to do this midway, because you are going to have these increasing waves. So they did a lot of lockdowns. And all these things, of course, hurt the economy. And overall, if you look at 2021, they are not in the worst position because they would have, if somehow their government debt was too big and they had to default on that or something, they would have been in a much worse position. But they did manage to roll over that debt, both banking sector and the government sector, because of these easy financial conditions in the global financial market. So that helped them a lot. And now they're hoping that tourism sector will be okay this summer, which will also help them a lot too, because that's going to be a large part of the GDP. But all the vulnerabilities that we knew were there came out in the open with the COVID crisis, right? And government did a lot of mistakes there, mostly in terms of the health policy side. On the economic side, I think the biggest mistake would be the monetary policy, right? So because on the fiscal side, they have limited fiscal space. They did what they can, but they cannot do more than that. There is no way a country like Turkey can put on the table fiscal packages the size of the European countries or the US. So in that sense, but on the health side, they did a lot of mistakes. They could have bought vaccines in advance. They actually had an offer to these, guys approached them, the guys who found the biotech Pfizer vaccine, the Turks in Germany. They didn't buy it. We know that the vaccines are actually very low cost, so it wouldn't have been a high cost for them. So they didn't do that. This was a huge mistake. And they also did many mistakes originally with the lockdowns too. So, but this is, I think, common to all the countries. All the countries that make mistakes in terms of the health policy. Moving forward, I think they are going to ride this growth in emerging markets tide a little bit, as Elias saying, but not to the extent that other countries will do. The other emerging markets are in much better shape than Turkey in terms of this. A very good example here is Turkey versus Chile, right? So Chile will do great right now because they were on top of the monetary policy. They are going to benefit from the commodity boom, and also they did really, really good on the health policy side. And as we know, health policy is the economic policy in this pandemic. So Turkey, on the other hand, didn't do well on those things. They did benefit from this easy monetary policy in the US, but as Elias said, this is going to revert. And now we saw the first very serious inclination of that just last week's, couple of days ago, meeting, FOMC meeting, and Jay Powell saying we are going to start rising in 2023. So both, my paper you referred to that focus on Turkey in Aristide, and also my Jackson Hole paper looking at the wider range of countries, shows that when these things happen, when Turkey, the US starts raising, these type of countries that really benefited a lot from low interest rate, they are going to get hurt most. Okay, so that would be Turkey and not Chile. And there are going to be other countries, but Turkey is going to be the top of the list there. And this is going to happen at some point, right? Now US is saying 2023, they are going to start rising. If not 2024, markets were expecting original 2024. Now then they switch to 2022. Now Fed is saying 2023, but this is going to happen at some point. And that's going to be, and when it happened, if by then they were on top of the monetary policy and they also did the necessary reforms, then they would be okay. But if they go on this path of having pretty much no independent central bank, no credible monetary policy, and not taking care of the structural reforms that they should be doing, then they will be in big trouble. Because right now, the growth is really coming from this low interest rate in the US effect. And once that reverts, Turkey is going to get hurt a lot from that.